All right. Welcome back to the High Vibe Podcast Network. We are here amplifying voices into the world that defy the ordinary and awaken the extraordinary. And today's guest, is sparking a sacred uprising around ageless living and the ageless life. One hot flash and tango step at a time. I would love to introduce you guys to Diana Devi, the host of the Soul Charged show that's redefining what it means to age with audacity. Diana is a clinical pharmacist, a sensual tango dancer, and an unapologetic advocate for ageless confidence. So her podcast isn't about anti-aging. It's about pro-vitality, which I love. This is so cool. You guys, this podcast is super juicy. It's for every woman over 50 who refuses to fade quietly into the background and instead chooses to rise with boldness, energy, and soul. So today in this episode with her and I, we're going to dive into the background. What's the story behind the podcast, behind the mic? We're going to get to know Diana a little bit more and find out what really is, what's really her goal for this podcast and what the world can expect. And, you know, I love this combination of why Diana created this show of like this mix between soul and science and really figuring out what really it takes to make us feel alive in your skin again. And I think, you know, I've met Diana in person and you just emanate this like vitality of life. I've seen you tango dance and I've seen you just the presence that you have. And so I am so excited for you to bring this show to the world. And so let's get ready to chat to Diana and let's dive in. So welcome to the show, Diana.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited that you're here too. It's been fun to watch this show unfold over the last few weeks. And you come with such a unique mix of experience and life experiences and career experiences that I'm excited for the world to hear what you have to say. So you're a clinical pharmacist and a tango dancer. And so you blend this amazing science, sensuality, and soul into your work. So how did you get started? How did this all blend together? Let's put it that way.
When I was a kid, I wanted to be a ballerina. And of course, you know, that's like, I don't have the build for it. I have a long torso. My legs aren't long enough. My arms aren't long enough. But besides that, my mother was very, very smart in what she said to me. She said, you need to have more that drives you rather than just movement. And so that allowed me to have the freedom to start delving into sciences. Well, meanwhile, I'm still doing the dance and the movement and the yoga and all of those things, and found that there is so much that happens in the body. It is reflected in what's going on in your soul. It is reflected in what's happening with you medically, physically, emotionally, the connections and interactions that you make. And I really saw this when I started teaching Argentine tango. I would be working with somebody and they would have a restriction in movement. And once we passed through that, they would have an emotional release. I mean, it was weird the first time I had a student cry during a lesson. It was like, oh my God, what did I do? But exactly. But understanding, because of my medical background, I can see the physical restrictions. And with the woo content and those kinds of things, understand what emotionally can be there. And figuring out how you can work the two together. Because a lot of science, or I should say a lot of woo, has a lot of basis in science. And we're just starting to discover that, which is a lot of why I wanted to bring all this to women over the age of 50.
I love it. And you just worked on, I had a leg injury just recently, and I got to experience some of your work like on my leg, and I was just blown away with what you could tell just over Zoom. It's so amazing. So I'm excited to have the world get to know this combination of like soul science and spirituality all mixed together, because I think there's a huge place for it in this world as we're moving forward as new earth leaders and people that are really helping raise the frequency and the consciousness in this world, that this is what we need to be looking at. And these are the ways that we need to be noticing our bodies and our frequencies, and, you know, when we're tight, and what does that mean? And dissecting all those juicy things, I think is is so needed right now in this world. I think there's so many of us craving that information.
Absolutely. And, having been a clinical pharmacist for, 30 some years, I can see where the challenges, or I should say opportunities, are for people that are looking for something other than what traditionally we see. And I just had a conversation with 3 women a week ago that were telling me about their experience at midlife and when they went to a physician and what they were told. And it blew me away that those things that they're being told are the same things that I was being told 20 years ago, that this has not progressed. And it's time for a revolution. And I say that with caution, but also as someone who is in the system and has been in the healthcare system, saying that we have a stronger voice in what happens. And as women, we need to start questioning what it is that's going on. And part of that is looking at what we want and are interacting with on a soul basis. And people don't always necessarily think of it that way, but they think of things like, every time I talk to that person, I'm really tired afterwards. Or every time I do this activity, I don't feel good. And all of these things are subtle signaling to your soul, from your soul, to you that maybe this is an activity or a person that is not the best for you to be around.
That's so good. Our bodies are so smart, right? They give us all these clues and we ignore them. But if we can learn to listen to them, oh my gosh, how much easier will it be to be our own advocates then? And I think that's really the message that you're bringing here, is that, we're not here just to be given prescriptions or, remedies or things like that. We're here to kind of understand and learn how our bodies work and how we can listen and communicate and work together for more vitality in our lives. And, we have a lot of things in our external environment working against us right now, from chemicals to parasites to, external emotional factors and chaos in this world. And so I think learning these skills is super valuable.
Absolutely it is. And establishing that communication channel, like you were talking about, between your body and what's going on, and that helps you to figure out what is the next step that you need to do. And part of what I wanted to do with the podcast is really to say, here are some things to think about. Here are some options. These are some of the things, because, oh, by the way, your body is changing. It doesn't come with a rule book. So you have to kind of figure out what it is. But here's some general categories of things that we know are going on in your body now. Here are some tools that you can use in order to figure out what is going to be the best for you. And also, this is a time of empowerment. This is a time when you are able to focus on you and what you need and what's going on, without having, most of us don't have still children at home. There may be other things, but it's time that really emotionally, physically, and spiritually, you're stepping back and saying, what do I want? Why am I here? And what is it that I'm going to do with my life? Because I got a whole heck of a lot of it left, and I want to make a difference.
I love that. And it's such an important message right now. I think, especially the women, we focus a lot of our time and energy externally. And now it's your time. Now it's your time. And what I didn't mention at the very beginning was your overall brand is called the Ageless Life, an Ageless Life. But the podcast itself is called the Midlife Reset. So I think that's a really important piece that I didn't say at the beginning, that it's called the Midlife Reset, this podcast, because an Ageless Life is such a great, it paints such a great picture for what we're trying to achieve here with your podcast. And so tell us about the Midlife Reset. And I think this is where we were just talking about that. So where it's your time really now.
Yeah. And that's the concept behind it, is to start to challenge some of the traditional ways of thinking about what happens in midlife. I worked in a corporate office for years and would hear men refer to, oh, she's got resting bitch face, or she's got this, or she's that, or, those kinds of things. And understanding what is going on inside of you and why this is reflecting on the outside. What is happening with your posture when you bring your posture and your shoulders in and you start to shrink away? You're saying to the world, you want to be invisible. Well, is it you want to be invisible because you don't have the energy to do what you need to? You're not sleeping well. You're not getting the right stimulation that you need for you emotionally, physically, whatever it is, and start being able to peel that back and say, hey, I do want to be a part of the world. I'm feeling better. These are the things that I know and can see and that I can do. And that's what the midlife reset is about, is giving these practical tools, but also understanding, the woo part is really important. Meditation does fabulous things for your brain. Breathing techniques actually change your ability to think clearly, how you move your body and when. Doing those workouts that you did when you were in your 30s really is going to promote weight gain, make you tired, versus other strategies that you can use in order to guard with movement. Ice baths, they work for men, great. Do not work for women. We shut down metabolism. So, it's all of this kind of stuff to kind of help. So as a midlife woman, you have more energy. You are more able to figure out what it is that you want, or even ask the question.
That's so good. What do you think is the biggest mindset shift for women over 50 that need to step in, who are ready to step into like their boldest chapter?
This is the best phase of your life.
I love that. Not that like we're over the hill now, but changing that this is the best
mindset.
Yeah.
And some of it is being able to let go of other people's perception of when you speak your opinion, when you do what it is that you want to, rather than doing something else that people are obligated to or think that you should do. Being able to figure out, this is my time. This is the time that I can do what I want. This is the time I can, if I want to go to Mount Kilimanjaro, I can do it. If I want to learn a language, if I don't want to do any of those things, if I want to cut the ties that I have with some of the other people in my life, or maybe I want to launch a new career, now is the time to do it.
I love it. We've been working with, over the last 10 years, a lot of women in that exact phase where now they're wanting to use their voice and put their voice out there in the world. And I love seeing that too. It's like, now's the time, now's the perfect time for
Now's the time.
So what are a few surprising truths about vitality or hormones that most women don't know that we should know?
One big one is that there's nothing I can do about it. That's a big myth. There are lots of things you can do. And understanding what it is that your body is now geared for is another really important component. So being able to take the mind shift from something like, I eat to be small, to I eat to be strong. Big shift, because now you're doing the things to fuel your body that allow it to be strong, rather than worrying about, I don't want to gain a pound or any of those kinds of things. That prioritizing you is extremely important.
And not selfish.
It's not selfish. Absolutely. It's, I think of it like when you're on an airplane, right? You put on your mask first, and then you put the mask of somebody who's with you that maybe can't do it. That's where we are. You need to put your mask on and take care of yourself.
Yeah. And you've said that it's, this is not about chasing youth. This is about reclaiming your essence. So what does that reinvention journey look like for someone who hasn't really fully embraced it yet?
We have spent, and those of us that reach in our 50s, you've spent 5 decades accumulating information. That's a lot of stuff. And we don't really recognize that we've accumulated all of this. I was talking to a client the other day, and she goes, well, I've been doing this for 30 years. Who else is going to hire me, or what other business can I go into? So I started asking her questions about what are the skills that she has. And she was surprised, extremely surprised. So being able to take the information and understand what it is that we've got experience with and what we can do starts the reclamation process. Reclaim your body rather than being a victim of what's going on with it or thinking that there's nothing you can do or relying on someone from the outside. Reclaim it. Reclaim your body, reclaim your power, because you are the only one that can make that change. But once you start on the path of reclamation, once you start beginning to do that, it fuels itself. It becomes, I got that, now what's next? I got that, now what's next? Which is so exciting to see and so exciting to feel within yourself.
Yeah, and you're a walking, living model of that. And you can see how lit up you get when you talk about it. So I love this. It's such a big passion for you. What was the moment that you realized that this world needed and is ready for this podcast? Let's put it that way.
I have been thinking about various ways to reach my audience. And I have done YouTube videos, I've done TikToks, I've done Instagram, YouTube, those kinds of things, and found that it doesn't allow people to have the time, or they don't create the time and the space in order to really absorb what it is. Versus a podcast, usually someone's either driving in their car, they're going for a walk, they're doing something where they're in a different environment altogether, where they're unplugged from many of those other things, can really take in and listen to what it is that's being talked about in the podcast. So that was my decision. I kind of danced around it for a few years ago. Oh, that's so much work. I don't want to do that. And I'm like, maybe if you have the right people with you, then it's not going to be as difficult as you think. And the mission makes it so that it's definitely something that I need to get the word out.
Yeah. And it's going to keep you with it for longer too, because you have that mission behind it that you really want to impact the world with the show. So let's fast forward 5 years. What do you hope that the Midlife Reset has accomplished?
I would hope that it has given women tools that they need in order to thrive, to reclaim what is theirs, to begin to understand their bodies, to question when something that they're told doesn't make sense, whether it be health-wise, whether it be somebody telling them something else as far as that goes, and really understand that midlife is not a glass ceiling. It is so beneficial. I mean, when you look at the animal world, I mean, there are, I think, 3 species that women live, the females of the species live beyond menopause. Humans are one of them. We have a divine purpose. Nature said we need women that are no longer of childbearing age for wisdom, not procreation, for wisdom. And that's what I want this to be, is a source of women so we can go out and change the world.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us about how you work with people like in your business so they can hear about all the amazing things that you're up to on the podcast, learn some really cool tips and tricks and tools and things that they can use to reclaim that sense of self and reclaim, I would say, like fragments of their soul that are out there and put their pieces back together, help them figure out this puzzle and navigate it. What are some things that you do to help your clients in your business?
So establishing something that is easy to do. So one of the things that I do initially with people is give little 5-minute increments of things to do, because if you have a full day and you're going from the time that you get up until the time that you go to bed, you do not have time for a 45-minute or an hour or whatever else it is. If you have a task that you can do in 5 minutes, and that 5 minutes resets your brain or your body or helps with clarity, that's going to be something, because of the benefit that you get from it, will help you. Now, the caveat is you have to do it with consistency, but 5 minutes a day, you can do it in the morning when you get up. Some of these you do it in the morning when you're in bed, or at night right before you go to bed, or maybe when you're brushing your teeth. So they're really accessible, easy things to do. They really start to rebuild you, to really start help you reclaim who and what you are.
I love it. I think there's so far too many women out there, myself included, that have ignored themselves for so long. They're ready to, get back into their bodies and reconnect right back. So this is such a great podcast. I'm really excited for the Midlife Reset to launch on our High Vibe Podcast Network. Is there anything else that you want us to know about your background or about your podcast?
What I would say is that my background has been a mix of woo and science and movement, and that's what the podcast will be about as well. So sometimes the woo is a little bit subtle, sometimes it's really out there, but you can pick and choose what you need for now, and remember the rest is there on the podcast for you later.
I love it. This is what I love about you, Diana. You're so grounded because you've got this background in science with this flair of woo that helps us connect with our spirituality. And so this is like a combination that's so rare, and it's very exciting for us to have you on our network. So I'm excited for all of the things that are going to come out of your podcast, all the cool guests you're going to interview, all the great tips and tools we're going to gain from listening to the show. If you could whisper one rebellious truth into the ears of every woman listening, what would it be?
The rebellious truth is, baby, you're just getting started.
I love it. That is so good. Well, Diana, thank you so much for joining me here. For our listeners that are listening today, you know that you can go over to the highvibepodcastnetwork.com and check out our vault. Inside of our vault, you're going to find this interview with Diana. We will put the audio and the transcript in there as well. And what you can also find is a free gift from Diana and access to get to her other programs and her other services so you can work with Diana too. So check it out. Head on over to the highvibepodcastnetwork.com and check out our vault, which is full of our hosts. You get to discover more about our hosts and be able to work with them and get a free gift from them too. So Diana, thank you so much for being here with us today. Any last words?
I just want to say thanks for creating the High Vibe Network. It's absolutely amazing, and I'm so excited to be a part of it.
You're welcome. We are excited to have you as well. So awesome, guys. Go out and check out Diana's show, An Ageless Life, the Midlife Reset, right here on the High Vibe Podcast Network. Thanks, Diana. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the High Vibe Podcast Network, where you get to meet the voices shaping the new earth. Want to launch your own High Vibe show, or do you want to grab all the gifts from our podcast hosts? Head on over to highvibepodcastnetwork.com, grab your gifts from each of the hosts, and join our movement. Until next time, stay visible, stay soul aligned, and keep raising the vibe.